Our girls on the floor, Cuba on the beam. In a moment, we'll see Lisa Whitwer, 14 years old, ready on the mat.
Lisa's having a very nice performance, very nice night. We started doing excellent bar routine. John, we are still down 1.7. We cannot have any mistakes. This is a critical pass here. Difficult tumbling skill. Triple full, one step, but a minor deduction only.
Look at the expressiveness, the big smile. That's got to be part of the scoring and has to influence the judges.
It sure does. She's having a good time out there. Now another big tumbling run, a double back somersault. Needs a good landing. A minor stumble, but again, only a minor deduction.
Oh my, look at that move. Choreography is so important also, Peter.
Yes, it is, and I think this separates the U.S. teams from many of the teams at the Pan Am Games. They dance very well, and they do have the tumbling skills as well. Lisa getting ready to wrap this routine up. This is an excellent performance. A nice double twist. Floor exercise looks great.
A hug from her coach, Mary Wright, as they share the joy together.
And now let's take another look. Very difficult tumbling run, double back somersault, a little under-rotated, but that was about the only mistake she made in the entire performance.
9-6, you heard it. A fine performance for Lisa Whitwer. Now this is Cuba's Tanya Gonzalez preparing for her beam routine.
And if the U.S. is going to move up in this competition to win this championship, they better start now.
Remember Cuba? A lead of
oh, there's a slight bobble. Slight bobble on the beam. Those tenths are adding. There's another one. She almost fell that time. Those tenths are adding up, John.
We talked about the routines being more difficult, the apparatus, the beam, a tough one for any gymnast.
Very much, and a lot of unsteadiness here. There's another mistake, a minor, oh, almost backwards. There's a lot of little errors in this routine. Those are all adding up. And this beam routine does lack some difficulty as well.
Scores based on a degree of difficulty as well as a creativity?
Yes, and certainly virtuosity. And in this routine, we're seeing many minor mistakes that will add up. In the end, there's another minor mistake, maybe only a tenth of a point. But we see a lot of them. Also lacking the big skills in the beams that the girls are doing now. Back handspring, but with bent knees, a little off balance. This is not a great routine.
Does this surprise you that the Cuban team doesn't have better difficulty?
Oh, and there's another bad dismount. Well, John, you know, they're trying to play it safe as well. They can't afford any mistakes now. They have a lead, but once again, we're going into two good events, floor and vaulting for the U.S. So they're trying to protect that lead they've built up. Let's take another look at that dismount. This is what's incorrect. Watch her knees. They're very bent. She tucks, takes it 2 steps back. Those are critical errors in this point.
8.85, a mistake, and Cuba's lead of 1.7 starting to evaporate in this third rotation. This is Yumi Mordre preparing for her floor exercise.
Yumi has really proved to be the team leader here for the U.S. She was great in the compulsories. She's had a good performance here so far. A very difficult floor routine. A double somersault coming up early. There it is right here. Oh, she stuck it cold. She's off to a great start.
17 years old, a seasoned competitor, and I think that shows in a routine.
Yes, it does. We need that right now. This is getting to be a very close contest. The U.S. is moving up. We just saw a ragged beam routine by the Cuban. Yumi looks great. Here she comes with another tumbling run. Full twist, very well done. This is an excellent routine, John. Not even a minor mistake. Very fluid. She's moving well. She's expressing herself. She's playing to the audience. All the qualities to get a top score. And the final tumbling run, a double twist. Another stuck landing. This is great. This is excellent.
And Yumi knows at a perfect time for a good routine because we're down. Starting this rotation, 1.7. It's time to make it up.
And here's Yumi in that opening tumbling run. Watch this double pike somersault. Watch the landing now. It's perfect. Right there. No movement at all.
9.75, what a way to wrap up the third rotation. We have a tight battle.
We sure do. The U.S. is catching up. And there's the Cuban coaches with their score sheets. They know what's going on. They're very worried.
And well, they should be, because after 3 rotations, the U.S. just trails Cuba by 3/4 of a point. Final round now, just 3/4 of a point separating the Americans and the Cubans. Tracy Butler on the runway for her first vault.
A critical point for us. Tracy's had a lot of trouble with this vault. Here it is. She got it in a step forward, but that's the best one I've seen her do in a long time, John.
And an important one in such a tight competition. Luisa Prieto of Cuba is about to start her floor exercise. So let's take a look.
The Cubans on floor, U.S. on vault. This is our chance to pick up some points. Vaulting's a high-scoring event.
And you're so right, Peter. A key floor exercise for the Cubans in this, the final round. And I wonder if Luisa senses her team's lead fading away.
She did a great double pike mount. She's off to an excellent routine. One of the best dancers on the Cuban team. Some of them lack some grace and elegance, but she is gorgeous.
Peter, I have to tell you that Tracy Butler's score on her first vault was 9.4. Her second not as good, so that was the score that will count.
And that's a good, solid score for Tracy Butler. She's not our best vaulter. I was glad to see that score come in at the 9.4 mark. A triple twist coming up here. This is a very nice floor routine. Here it is. Oh, no, a bad mistake. She only made 2.5 twists, sat down on the mat. A critical error. The Cubans are losing that lead.
We were down 1.7 after 2 rotations, made up some ground. In the third rotation, only 3/4 of a point separating it. Now we're closing the gap even further, Peter.
Yes, we are. Our girls are very good on vaulting. Cubans had some problems on the floor exercise. A good double twist, but a major error, a major mistake in this routine.
At a critical time in this competition. And she knows it. Luisa Prieto. Let's take another look at that fall.
And here she is doing a triple twist. She wants to get 3 twists in. Here it is. 1, 2.5. And that caused the fall.
8.8 for Prieto. The Cubans having their problems, but can Yumi Mordre seize the opportunity, Peter?
She's our last vaulter to go. The last U.S. vaulter, the last U.S. competitor in the competition. She's a tremendous vaulter, our 1982 national champion. We need every 1/10 of a point at this point. Her first vault. Nice handspring punt, a little low in the landing. I think Yumi's capable of even a better vault than that.
Of course, she gets 2 vaults, the better score counts. And Yumi is really the girl you want up in this situation, 17 years old, a veteran competitor, a leader.
And here's another look at that first vault. A handspring front somersault. Lands a little low right there. Slight deduction. And why that is critical now is that we do not know. There's a 9.55. That's a good score. However, we do not know what the Cubans are going to score on floor. Every tenth of a point might count. This is a very close race.
Yumi will have a chance to put an extra couple of tenths of a point on our score, all important, as you just mentioned.
Here it comes. Moreni out, a step back, but I think it might get a better score. That had more flight. That was a nicer vault.
Peter, you're so right. Like a cleanup hitter, Yumi Mordre coming through with the big hit, and everybody knows it.
And here's a look at that second vault. She added a twist to it with more difficulty, a better takeoff, better flight, and our U.S. girls really came through on floor exercise and vaulting.
And there's a score, 9.65, a terrific score for Yumi Mordre. And at 3/4 of a point, Cuban edge coming in the final rotation, all but gone now. And we're through. We have no more competitors. The Americans have all gone, so it's all up to the Cuban girl. Here she is, Oracel Martinez, on the floor. And Peter, if there's ever been a critical routine in this head-to-head battle between the United States and Cuba, this is it. Everything on the line.
And John, if she scores less than a 9.6, the U.S. has won this competition.
What pressure. But Martinez, at 23 years old, a veteran competitor, might be able to handle it.
Very nice routine so far. She started with an excellent double back. She's in a dance segment now. Not as graceful as some of the American dancers we've seen, some of our gymnasts, but she is a tremendous tumbler. Oh, nice double full, but she took 2 steps back. That's a deduction. Now remember, we're talking about tenths of a point. If she scores under a 9.6, which is a very good score, the U.S. is going to win the team gold medal.
She's getting ready for her final pass.
A hard tumbling run. Half twist. To a double twist. She got it in a little ragged. Boy, this is going to be close. She hasn't had major mistakes, but she's had a number of minor ones.
I don't know if the crowd agrees with you. I don't think Martinez does either. Neither do her teammates. She obviously feels they have a score good enough to take the gold.
She did a very nice routine, John, but there were some minor mistakes. I'm comparing it to some of the U.S. girls. She was not as elegant. This is a double back, her best tumbling run. That was done very nice, but we're talking about a very good score. She needs a 9.6. That's a top score.
She feels she might get it. So do her teammates. Look at this, the high fives, the judges deliberating.
Yes, we have another conference, and we've seen this all week long. There's been more protests in this event than I've ever seen at a gymnastics meet.
Still no score. Judges still talking. Summit conferences everywhere.
That's Sharon Weber, the American judge. She's obviously fighting for the lower score here. There's a lot on the line here. It's unfortunate it's left in the lap of the judges.
You can hear the crowd in the background. They're edgy for a final result. They want to know who won the gold. So does the American coach. Peter Corman is with him.
Gary, there's a lot going on in here right now. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, Peter, that they score the way she should be scored and get about a 9.3 or 9.4, which means the USA won the gold.
Well, it's certainly not that clear with the judges because the controversy continues. Meet officials still struggling with Martinez's score on the floor, and the outcome of this meet now in their hands. Will it be the United States or Cuba going home with the gold? We'll be back in a moment to find out. Well, nothing much has changed since we left. They're still arguing. The judges still unable to make a decision on Martinez's floor routine. And Peter, things are getting pretty hot around here.
They sure are, John. And keep in mind, if the Cuban score is less than 9.6, the USA will win the team gold medal. 4 judges, 1 from Brazil, 1 from Colombia, 1 from USA, and 1 from Cuba. Obviously, everyone's fighting for their own team.
And Peter, there's a score, 9.4. That means America has the gold. What a moment for this young American team. Average age 15 years old and now have a gold medal.
The youngest team we've ever sent. And Cuba has worked a long time to win this. The USA took it away from them.
The all-around competition, Martinez the gold, Mordre the silver, and 14-year-old Lisa Whitworth the bronze in her first international competition. For Peter Corman, I'm John Dockery at the Women's Gymnastics Championship.